Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Tasting Room. I got into YouTube about 10-11 months ago, and it was from watching my girlfriend. She would constantly watch these people these girls who would review makeup, and I got to thinking, like, wow, I could do that. I've got all this booze around my house, and I could review whiskeys. I'm a bit of a connoisseur, so what the hell? Why not? All right. Well, so some of these people would review these makeup products or whatever, and every now and again, one of them would go to the drugstore or wherever it is they went to buy makeup, and they'd spend $500 million and come back, and they would film a video. They would do a haul, they would call it, and they would show the camera and their audience all the different things they bought, and so. Well, I just took a trip to bourbon country out in Kentucky, and did some tours of a bunch of distilleries, and bought a whole bunch of whiskey. So that's what this video is going to be. And I'm going to show you what I picked up out in Kentucky. So if you're not interested, please feel free to skip this video and move on to the next one. So anyone who knows me really closely and my preferences in whiskey, I love a wonderful tasting whiskey at a wonderfully cheap price if I can find it. And I think I did an episode on it a little ways back. Very Old Barton is probably the best, cheapest whiskey I could find anywhere. Now, unfortunately, the rest of the population must have heard about this as well, because now it's nearly impossible to find. In fact, I took a tour of the Very Old Barton distillery, and they didn't even have any in stock. But fortunately, I checked a couple of liquor stores down in Kentucky, and well, just guess what I found at the cheapest price I've ever seen. All kinds of Very Old Barton. So we picked up a big giant bottle of the 80 proof. This one almost didn't make it home with me. A little bit left. And then we picked up, wouldn't you know it, a big giant bottle of the 80 proof. And then I wasn't quite done yet. I picked up a fifth of the 80 proof Very Old Barton. I love my Barton. And then I found a couple that by, of course, Very Old Barton, that I haven't actually seen around here, even before it became impossible to find. I was always a big fan of the 100 proof. Nobody had the 100 proof out there, unfortunately, but I did find an 86 proof, so that was interesting. I had to pick that one up, so half of that bottle made it home. Thank goodness. We'll review that one later. And then one more. I also found a 90 proof out there, so had to try that one as well. Got a big giant bottle of that. Incredible. I think I found this for like $16.99 for the 1.75 liter. It was really quite something. Couldn't pass it up. Again and again and again and again. So that does it for the Very Old Barton. I know you're disappointed. Also, another one I think I reviewed before, Michter's Sour Mash. Now I can find the Michter's around here, their original bourbon, but the Sour Mash is becoming impossible to find around here. So I saw one in the liquor store and just, I couldn't pass it up. I had to pick it up. So one of the distillery tours I went on out there was Maker's Mark, and that was, if you're ever out that way and you only have time to tour one distillery, do the Maker's Mark tour, because that was a pretty awesome tour. They got to take you up, and they showed you their fermenting vats. We got to taste a little bit of the fermenting mash. That was pretty awesome. Got to go out and see the rick house, and then of course taste some whiskeys. Well, anyway, so the Maker's Mark came up with this private select. I guess the 4 owners or executives or whatever. This one was selected by Bill Samuels Jr., who I think is the president. But I guess 4 of these people went and created 4 different unique spins on the Maker's Mark product. They took some aging whiskey, and they took 10 staves of charred oak, of different types of oak, French oak, white oak, whatever, and they kind of made their own mix, and threw these into the barrel and let it age a little bit longer to give it just a little bit different character. Now I guess 3 of them flew off the shelf, and this was the last one that was left here, but or the last style that was left anyway. And I'm not sure you can get this one in stores. I think you actually have to get this one at the distillery. But yeah, so this is the exclusive oak stave selection by Bill Samuels Jr. It was bottled, I think, at cask strength at 110.9 proof. So that was pretty cool. Can't wait to open that one. But definitely, if you're around Bardstown, go do the Maker's Mark tour. You won't be disappointed. Now another pretty cool one. Now in episode 2, I reviewed Russell's Reserve 10-year-old, and to this day, it's my favorite bourbon. I gave it 96 points, I think, if memory serves. But it's a wonderful, wonderful bourbon. It's made by Wild Turkey, and I visited the Wild Turkey distillery, and I actually got a chance to meet and shake hands with the master distiller, Jimmy Russell. So that's pretty cool. And he hand-signed a bottle for me of my Russell's Reserve 10 years. So I got a nice signed bottle there by Jimmy Russell, the legend himself. So very excited about that. And I didn't buy something in all the distilleries. I focused on buying some stuff that I couldn't get at home. A lot of the distilleries were selling their White Dog or their the unaged whiskey, but I wasn't gonna buy a bottle of it. It was cool to taste, but unaged whiskey really. I mean, you can taste the grains, and that's pretty cool to compare and contrast with the aged version. But it gets 70% of its flavor from the barrel. So I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of money on some unaged whiskey, but. So I didn't buy something everywhere. It's just a matter of who had the things that I couldn't get at home. But another one of my favorite tours was I went to Willet. That was right over in Bardstown as well. And Willet was cool because they were so small. I went to Heaven Hill, and they're just big giant production, or in Buffalo Trace. They make thousands and thousands of barrels. Well, Willet is family owned, and it's a very, very small operation. It's all very, very small batch. They make I don't know, 7, 8, 9 whiskeys, something around there. But Noah's Mill, which I reviewed in the past. Again, very, very small batch. They hand bottle everything. They hand barrel everything. They fill about 20 barrels a day. Very, very small operation. When you think of these giants like Buffalo Trace or Maker's Mark, Wild Turkey. They said they only have about 15,000 barrels aging on site. To put it in perspective, I can't remember exactly, but I think one of Heaven Hill's rickhouses, and they have many, many rickhouses, I think one of them holds upwards of 50,000 barrels. The entire stock at Willet is wouldn't even make a dent in one of Heaven Hill's warehouses. But they make some really great small batch whiskeys. They shared some of their mash bill information with me, so I'll share it with you when I review these whiskeys. But one of them that I really, really liked was their rye. So I'll be reviewing that one pretty soon. The Willet Small Batch Rye. That was an awesome whiskey. I had to pick that one up. That one is bottled at 56.1%. So that is at cask strength. So good. And I also picked up this one. It's a little cheaper one, but I sampled it at one of the bars down there. It's also made by Willet, and I found this one to have kind of a unique taste. So we'll sample this one later too. This is the Pure Kentucky. So, not sure if I can get these out here. They never stuck out at me before, but I was pretty taken with Willett's small scale operation. So, truly everything is done by hand. They, the filling of the barrels. There's not even an elevator in the rick house. They pull all the, it takes 3-4 guys. They pull these barrels up, the ricks by hand. And these barrels, when they're full, when they're newly filled, they can be, upwards of 500, 550 pounds. So it's quite a feat. So that was all the whiskey I bought out there. Came back with 10 bottles of whiskey. I thought that was enough. I would have come back with a barrel if they'd let me at Burial Barton, but and they will, but I didn't have $7 grand on me, so oh well, another day. Another thing I picked up at Maker's Mark was their gourmet coffee. They had a Maker's Mark infused coffee. I thought that was kind of cool, so I'll have to try that. And then set of coasters from Buffalo Trace. Why not? Yeah, a couple little shot glasses. This one and this one here. But that's about it. That was my trip to Kentucky. Lots of fun. I think the highlight of my trip was meeting Jimmy Russell, being the master distiller of my favorite whiskey in the world. That was awesome. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you didn't, I'm sorry you wasted your time, but I hope you'll still come back and view some of my reviews. I've been reviewing things since January. I have a review go up every Saturday. I'll certainly be reviewing all the wonderful items I picked up from my trip to Kentucky, so we'll start that soon. Until next time, thanks once again for joining me here on the Tasting Room.